3, 2, 1. Okay, and welcome everybody to What's in the News Poonsauce episode 2. Which, hey, let's get into this because this is gonna be an interesting little topic tonight because obviously everybody has different opinions on this kind of thing, which it's a very touchy subject, I feel like, because when you, of course, my topic is, it's all about the children, right? So children are always the touchy subject on everything that's going on. So yeah, let's get into it. But first of all, before we get into the whole shindig of what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to kind of go over what I'm vaping on a little bit. So first of all, I got Lazy Vapors Single DNA 75C 21700 with the Alliance Tech Flave 24 Evo on top. And in there, I got, not even would you consider this being really any left in there, because this will be done after like my next drip, but apple cream custard. It's going to be a sad day when this stuff's gone, which it will be. And then, let's see what else. I got my Death Wish Evil Twin stack, looking like my favorite stack of all time because of just how pretty it is. And in there, I got some Drip This Blue Raspberry, which is delicious. And finally, my last setup, which is starting to get a little patina now, but I gotta clean it up a little bit, but I'll do that this weekend. I got my Keen Mac Mod from Mr. Stan, TenaciousTXVapes, and my Kennedy 25 on there, full copper, everything, which is just awesome. And in there, I got, where's the bottle? Okay. I got some LSD, or Lemon Sugar Drop, by Transistor. Great stuff. Always love to support my dudes over in Transistor. It's great people, great juice. Just the whole Transistor community is a great community. And I have cars going off in the background. Don't mind that. My window's open, which I'm going to close right now. Don't mind me. Okay. Yeah, I should have done that at the beginning, but whatever. We'll just kind of get through it. Okay. Let's get into the whole thing. Our main topic tonight is, of course, going to be kids, teens, and what the government thinks is a national epidemic of underage vaping, teens talking about, teens pretty much thinking vaping is the next hot thing. And I have a couple articles I'm going to go over, share my thoughts of what I think about some stuff. I think that I have some pretty cool information that I did a little research on this past couple, well, it's a couple days that I've gone over, more of just kind of getting up to date on if there was anything I missed or some stuff that I've known has been out there. I just really haven't gone out and taken the time to fully read stuff. So yeah, first thing we're going to talk about today, bear with me, where did you go? There you are. First of all, I wanted to mention to everybody, we need to remember advocacy is the biggest thing of all. Advocacy, activism, it's something you always have to do, always you should be doing. And I have a link for you guys that I just found a couple weeks ago, which is a very, very useful tool for anybody who is looking to possibly start advocating more or actually start moving from advocacy to activism. It's a link that pretty much, it's a website, you put your zip code in and it tells you all your representatives in your area, where it gives you their email addresses, everything you need to either get a hold of them, contacting them, anything you need to do to tell them what you think about vaping, how it saved your life, and actually share some knowledge with people who don't really know much about this industry at all or what kind of product vaping actually is. So I think one of my lovely moderators in there has that link. She will drop right there. Thank you, Livia. You are amazing. And first thing we're going to talk about now was given to me or sent to me by an Ohmie panel member and the lovely Vapor Swaggins, he showed me this. I think it was beginning of the week. Was it? I don't know if it was this week or probably end of the week last week, which I thought was very interesting, and I kind of want to go over it, what my thoughts were on it, and it's a very, I know it's kind of an older article, but it's still something that still relates to what's going on today. So the title it's from the New York Post, and the title of it's Teens Are Smoking More Cigarettes Because of E-Cigarette Laws. So obviously there's been so many laws going around where regulation of vapes and e-cigarettes has been going through the roof exponentially, to where it's just, I wouldn't say it's, I kind of would say it's getting out of hand with all the flavor bans and stuff going on, flavor bans, Tobacco 21, all that crazy stuff, that it's getting to the point now to where I don't want to say they're over-regulating, but they kind of are. Reasonable regulation in my head is always a great thing. Everything has the right to be reasonably regulated. It's just how the world works, how this country works. And it's something that would need to happen eventually. It's like vaping wouldn't be around forever and not have any kind of regulation to it. I think we all can agree on that, to where it wasn't going to be a thing to where it was just going to be free to do whatever they want the entire time the industry was around. So this is a very interesting article. It came out about a year ago. I would say the New York Post had a little bit of the person who wrote this on the New York Post had a couple interesting little things I got off this. This was written by Alessandra Maltito. Yeah, I'm bad with names, so bear with me. Some of these people might have some interesting last names where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to know how to say that, but I'm going to try my best. And so this pretty much talks about how we think that regulating and with all these different laws, it's going to get to the point to where there's going to be so many laws where teens are going to see this and they're not going to want to waste their time trying to get a hold of this stuff, because, or say if you're like 17 years old and you see all these laws, they'll be like, oh, they're cracking down on us and I can't do this. No, they're going to think that if you're making more laws, that the government's going to be strict on them, which I don't think has really been the case. I know it, like with the FDA and the regulations they're doing, they've had people go to vape shops, they've hired different like agencies to go to shops and look around and take pictures and do all the things, but when it comes to doing it out in the everyday world, and how if they're gonna get police officers and stuff to regulate that kind of thing, where it's like if you get pulled over and you find a vape on you when you're not of age, are they going to do something about it, or are they going to actually take that step to where it's like, oh, this car smells like any kind of flavor that's going on? Are they going to get to the point to where, oh, we're going to have to ask you to step out of the car kind of thing, because they think you're in possession of some kind of legal substance, which we all know vaping isn't illegal. But I don't know, that's just a little thought I had there. If I don't know who, I had a little interesting little segment. That segment. What the hell am I saying? Little nitpick. Not nitpick. God damn it, I can't talk right now. Okay, so it was a little part of this article which definitely caught my interest, because it kind of put realization in my head to where they're telling you that more regulation means that the less teens that are going to be vaping, which this little part I got down on here says, since states began instating e-cigarette laws, though starting in 2010, participation of youth smoking traditional cigarettes jumped from 0.7 to 1.4 since they've introduced these laws. So obviously what the government thought they were going to do with introducing more e-cigarette laws and all that kind of stuff to get down the age of them doing it didn't work, because teenagers are going to do what's in their nature and go against authority. How I've said many times before, how about that's what being a teenager is all about. If you can't get a hold of something because you're of age, you'll know somebody who could get it for you, and that will get it for you, which obviously I know none of us and none of you guys in chat will ever do, which a lot of respect out of that, because nobody that's of age, that's of smoking age, should be buying anything for anybody underage of their said so state of where you could purchase tobacco products. So if you're in a state right now where it's 21 and older, somebody's 18, where they just turned 18, sorry, nope, it's not my fault. But hey, you gotta go by the rules, and you gotta make sure that you're kind of leading by example of, okay, if they're regulating us, it might not be the right way, but I'm going to be a responsible adult and not get anybody underage that shouldn't be having this stuff possession of it. You're not going to give yourself the opportunity to do something wrong and do that and get caught and then end up being in a lot of trouble. Because obviously, if you see people doing that with alcohol, it becomes a big deal, huge deal, which I would not be surprised if they start doing that with vapor products, to where they have younger people going into shops. I'm guessing they already have done it, to where they have underage people going into shops trying to buy stuff and seeing if you'll ID them or actually sell the product to them. Because then if you do, you're getting a big fine on your hands, and then your boss is not going to be happy with you. So it's an interesting read. I know there's probably a lot more up to date on like information on what this is about, if it's changed, to where the amount of the consumers out there that are going from traditional cigarettes with these new regulations has probably gone up or down. I don't know. Something I want to look into more and see at the recent time right now, if with all these regulations out there, it's a thought that's coming to my head, to where are more people going back to regular tobacco when they're underage, or are they still trying to get their hands on vapor products as much as they are with regular traditional cigarettes? Just a little thought. I don't know, that's cool. It's a cool little thing. It might be old, but it's still information, which any kind of information, even the good or bad, will spark a thought, give you some knowledge in your head, then maybe spark a conversation somewhere else, which is a really interesting thing, and it needs to be done, because the conversations needs to start. It has to. Because if you're out there in the world and somebody asks you what you're doing when you're vaping, don't overwhelm them, but start the conversation. And have that to where all it takes is a little piece of information to where it might change everything. You never know. So the next article I got here, where are you, was done by the lovely VapeNews.com, by some of the favorite people I know in this industry. Wrote articles off of this website. The lovely Angela Garrity was, I don't know if she still is now, was a writer for this website, and came out with some amazing content, stuff I used on the Ohmies. Just a lot of the information I did do my own personal research on what's going on came from this website. So I highly recommend you go to vapenews.com, read some of the information they come out with, because the people they have writing this information know what they're talking about, know what they're doing, and gives out some amazing content. So this one is interesting because this involves the regulation that we were just talking about, how they keep adding more regulation to this industry, and one of those regulations they're doing is taxes. They're taxing the hell out of vapor products, whether it's through retail, to where they're taxing the so many cents per milliliter of liquid with nicotine in it, or say so to where you have a 60 ml bottle, they're charging you, say, 75 cents per milliliter in that bottle, even if it doesn't have nicotine in it. They're still doing that tax, and which a lot of the government thinks that if we tax the hell out of this stuff, it's going to stop teens from doing it. But that does not seem to be the case, because the more states are taxing it, the more people are doing it. It's still going to be a thing. People are still. A little quote I got off here, which is some of the best it was awesome. I loved reading it. It just kind of gave me chills because it made so much sense. And so I'm gonna go read it off here for you. Is when you make it harder to buy e-cigarettes, the unintended consequence of this action is continuing regular cigarette consumption. And the laws didn't, however, impact use of marijuana or alcohol consumption. So the taxes are going crazy, and you're not stopping people from doing it. So obviously you're taxing the hell out of vapor products, but you see those kind of regulations going into regular cigarettes, even though that they've been already taxed heavily throughout 10-15 years, of course. But I would not say they're getting taxed as bad as vapor products are. The amount of taxes they've put on vapor products is just exponential. And one thing that I was watching something, I don't remember what it was, but somebody was talking to a legislator, and then they were talking about, like, why are we doing a tax this heavy? And they're like, I don't know, they just suggested the number to me. It's literally somebody just suggesting a number, and they're not even thinking about it. They're pretty much going, okay, they want to tax this as much, we'll tax it. Yeah, not even knowing any of the consequence that's going on with it. So, yeah, lovely. I know the moderators are, well, at least one moderator who has the links that's putting them down so you guys can have a little bit of information to read. Because if you have time, say you're sitting on the poopa at work, you have nothing to do, go with a little bit of reading. Instead of when you forget your phone, I feel like it's one of those things to where you're just looking at the aerosol can, you're reading the information on there because you forgot your phone somehow, and so you're like, oh, I'm going to read the stuff on the can. Well, if you have your phone, you can still do a little bit of reading. So that's a great thing there too, because the more information you know, the more you can stay up to date. This next article, I'm guessing you guys already know about it, because I feel like any vapor that's involved with advocacy has known about it. That's the Surgeon General going out there and saying that youth vaping is now an epidemic. I hate that word when it comes to vaping because of how, I don't know if he understands. Let's look this up. Let's look up the definition of an epidemic. So let's do that really quick. I want you guys to hear what the definition of an epidemic is when I look at one right here. So we can kind of, okay, this is going straight from Google, saying a widespread occurrence of an infectious disease in a community at a particular time. First of all, I don't agree with the whole infectious disease thing when it comes to this definition, because I would say epidemics are just a large amount of people doing one thing or a certain kind of thing that's going on. So pretty much saying, obviously a large amount of people vape, it's in the millions but going out there and saying there's an epidemic on teenagers vaping is kind of absurd, because the information they're trying to give off this, where there's so many different companies out there who their intention is not to get teens vaping, but how to get those cigarette users onto vaping to where they can stop using regular combustible cigarettes. So obviously, I honestly think the epidemic thing is just, it's fear-mongering. That's what it is. Because the moment a parent hears that there's an epidemic of teens vaping going on at their school, what are they going to do? They're going to panic, and they're going to try to do whatever they can to be against it by pretty much controlling everything that has to do with what's going on with their kids' lives in that school. So say a school has that kind of information out there to where they get it to where all 20% of between sophomore and freshman year teens are vaping. Parents are going to see that. Some of these overprotective kind of parents that are going to be all crazy and want to ban it all together, like how different states are trying to do with flavors. They're going to want to go completely bonkers with it and take it to that nth degree like some parents decide to do. Which, I don't know, it's just... I honestly think this whole epidemic thing is just... It's just a way to get fear into the eyes of people and to get people against vaping. That's all I have to say about that. And finally, let's get to our final thing of the night. I don't want to keep you guys here too long. So, where am I? Okay. Bear with me. This next one is another one off of the New York Post, which I think ties into the whole vaping epidemic thing really well, because it just pretty much says what I just said. And get that posted up on my laptop so I can get a good look. Don't mind me. Which this is also, obviously it's an opinion article. That's a lot of what articles are, is opinions, if you didn't know. That this says the teen vaping epidemic is a myth. Like I said before, where they're just saying it's an epidemic just to strike fear into the people. And there was one big thing that I got off this article, to where probably I would say it's the biggest thing that I got off out of all the articles that I... Let's see, where am I? There's one, I think here it is, right here. I am totally like, where am I? Okay, I need to organize myself better, but don't mind me. Remember, only second episode. I'm still working on things, and hopefully I'll get better and not ramble as much like I feel I'm doing this episode. So, one little quote that I like to go off of, which was really good, which is, more data is necessary, but by all indications, youth are not deterred by said vaping taxes, e-cigarette tax is important. It's important for lawmakers to note minors typically rely on others to obtain tobacco products. They don't go out and do it themselves. And that's it with that. And then the one thing that... Where am I here? I completely got lost with what I was doing. Holy crap. Don't mind me. God damn it. One last thing I want to go and say before I end this, because I feel like I'm taking up too much of your guys' time, and I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm getting lost with myself. So, last thing I want to say is, what I got off this last article is, vaping is better than cigarette smoking, and nationally high schoolers aren't doing much of either, because it's more of a national standpoint. It's not going to where all teenagers are smoking or using vape products. So, but extreme activists are screaming, yelling about vaping, this vaping epidemic that is happening, what people think is an epidemic. And what the hell? And then that is causing regulation that is, I would say, not good, because all these people panicking about thinking that vaping is an epidemic is going to cause some of this regulation that we're seeing now. So all I can say from here is, don't stop fighting. Be a voice. That's all you can do. Anybody who thinks that underage kids are using vaping to just do it, and just think that parents out there are using this to say that this is an epidemic, prove them wrong. Give them information, do your research, give them the right kind of information that is not overbearing and just to the point to where, well, holy crap, it's just too much. So yeah, that's my final thoughts, guys. Yeah, thanks for bearing with me. I know this kind of end, when I was at the end, it kind of got a little off topic a little bit. My mind kind of went blank a little bit. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be going Saturday on a new kind of show that I want to start doing. I might have a special guest. You'll have to wait and find out. Might be letting you guys know if I'm going to have one on Friday, so keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to check out The Green Room with Mr. Sean Typhon and James Franklin. They have on James's YouTube channel every Friday at 7. And then don't forget, watch the Vape Stew on Friday nights, 9:30 Central, 9 o'clock Central. And then actually, not this next Sunday, but the next Sunday after, I believe, High End Vape Forum is on TenaciousTXVapes channel. It's a cool thing if you're into high end. I know I'm starting to become into it, so I really enjoy watching that. But yeah, that's all I got today, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. And doesn't matter if you have a small voice, use that voice. Instead of having this vape in your mouth for 95% of the time, use it to something to where you can bring out information. We need to get to where we need the mass to know what vaping actually is. So yeah, thank you all for watching, guys. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. And yeah, I will see you guys Saturday. See you later.